Good morning, Class 1. Happy Wednesday. We are halfway through the week and welcome to this morning's English lesson. Yesterday, you watched a video of how to make a tuna sandwich and then you created a storyboard with each step. So a picture for each step on how to make a tuna sandwich because Pedro is going to be having a go at making his own tuna sandwich on Friday this week and he really needs your help. So, in today's lesson, we're going to be thinking and focusing on one of the key features of instructional writing. The feature that we're going to be focusing on is imperative verbs, bossy verbs. Pause the video now and tell a grown-up what you think a bossy verb is. Pedro's going to tell me what he thinks now. Okay. Yeah. Should we see what Class 1 think? Okay. Now Pedro thinks that a bossy verb, he knows that a verb is a doing word, and if we're being bossy, we're telling somebody what to do. So he thinks that the verb, a bossy verb, describes what the person needs to be doing in a bossy way. Is Pedro correct? Well done, Pedro. An imperative verb or a bossy verb, when it's used in a sentence, creates a command. It's telling somebody what they need to do. Can you think of an instruction, Pedro, that has a bossy verb in it? And then maybe I could write it on the board and we could share it with Class 1. What do you think? Okay, I'll write it up now. Now, on the board, I have written the instruction or the command that Pedro whispered to me. Let's read it together. Read me a story. So Pedro has written his instruction or his command and he has used a bossy verb. Can you identify what that bossy verb is? That's right, the bossy verb is read. It's come at the beginning of our sentence and it's told us what we need to do. Pedro's asking me to read him a story. So the command is read me a story. At the end of Pedro's command, because he's being bossy, he has used an exclamation mark. Sometimes when we are writing instructions or commands, we use an exclamation mark at the end of our sentence to show the reader that we want them to do it right now. We don't use exclamation marks for every instruction because that would be very rude and very bossy. But sometimes when we want things done immediately, we might use an exclamation mark because that makes the instruction or the command even bossier. Because we're going to be writing instructions for Pedro, we aren't going to be using exclamation marks because we don't need to be that bossy in our tone of writing. If we were writing a command, then we would need to, but because we're writing an instruction and we just want Pedro to learn from our instructions, we don't need to use an exclamation mark. But I just wanted to show you how we can use an exclamation mark for a command. Now we know what a bossy verb or an imperative verb is, and we've recapped that learning, we're going to be using that knowledge and understanding to help us in today's lesson. We are going to be adding our own bossy verbs to our story in today's lesson. So we're going to identify the bossy verb that we need for each instruction so that we can tell Pedro which bossy verb he needs at the beginning of each instruction. Now, to help us with this, we need to re-watch the video from yesterday and pause it after each instruction to identify which bossy verb we need. So, I'm going to insert a clip now for the first instruction. Listen carefully and see if you can identify the bossy verb in this instruction. Step 1. Get 2 pieces of bread. 1, 2. Okay, you should have all been able to identify that the bossy verb was get. Get 2 pieces of bread. So I want to add the bossy verb to my story map to help me when I'm writing my instructions. So next to the 2 pieces of bread, underneath, I'm going to write the bossy verb get. Get 2 pieces of bread. Now, listen carefully again because I'm going to insert the next clip of the second instruction. Can you identify the bossy verb in the next instruction? Because we're going to need to add it to our story map. Listen carefully. Spread the butter on the bread. That's right, the bossy verb was spread. Spread the butter on your bread. Spread. Spread. And actually in the word spread it sounds like an E sound, but it's tricking us and it's actually an E sound. 2 bossy verbs added to my story map. Let's look at the next one together. I am really impressed that you're identifying all of these imperative verbs. Listen carefully to the next instruction. Can you identify the bossy verb? Put the tuna in a bowl. That's right. The bossy verb is put. Put the tuna in the bowl. So I'm going to add the bossy verb put. Put. You can see that I am adding a bossy verb to match each picture. Now that we've looked at the first 3 as an example together, I would like you to choose a bossy verb for each instruction on the rest of your storyboard. So you need to add 1 bossy verb underneath each picture to explain what Pedro needs to do. You can watch yesterday's instruction video back to help you, or you might want to choose a bossy verb of your own. I have put a list of bossy verbs on your activity sheet today that you can choose from. If you don't like any of those, please choose one of your own. I can't wait to see all of your fantastic storyboards with their imperative verbs on Tapestry. Keep up the great work, Class 1. I'm really proud of you.